Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Board Game Mechanics. My name is Katie, and with me, as always, is...
Hey, everybody, what's going on? It is Jason.
We are back after a holiday break. It is a new year. It is a new semester. It is 2025. It's almost Lunar New Year. Year of the Snake is almost here. So lots of beginnings. But this episode is not a new beginning. It is a continuation of our top 100.
Well, it kind of feels like a new beginning, but it's not.
A new beginning set of games?
No, just because we've been gone for a long time.
We're in the top 50, so it's sort of like the new first half. I don't know. I'll let that one go and just move on right away to some news. News is slim. My correspondent in the field, the wonderful Fan Zero, Mike, agrees with me. So I just kind of looked for something that just struck my interest because I think everyone's decided there's a lot of purchasing fatigue after the holidays. But one campaign on Kickstarter caught my eye, and it's called Famous Stage 1. And this is about becoming the most famous band your town has ever seen. And this theme has been used in other games. But from the looks of this game, this looks pretty intense. They say it's theme first, it's strategic, it is 40 minutes per player. So you are growing your band members, you're doing bookings, services, songwriting, rehearsal. You got to get equipment, supporters, promotion. All of this kind of thing. I think the designer is a singer-songwriter who apparently, according to the Kickstarter, has had music in TV series. So that's interesting. But I guess he permanently injured his voice, which is really sad. But he likes games. So the game is... there's so many components in this game. So there's 12 rounds, which are like 12 weeks. And you've got 15 available hours. And so there's like 4 actions that you can choose from. You can write, rehearse, network, or advertise. And you've got contact. You've got like these there's some card management with like contacts and shops and promotions and things that you're going to do. There's song cards you can collect. You can level up like skills, recruit new people to your band, booking venues, gigs, also like selling merch and stuff, which I think is really kind of interesting. There's lots of tracks, like you can up your creativity and you can up your performance. And what's interesting is like everyone has a personal band board, which the band board is very cool thematically, but you like choose one of the 4 styles: rock, country, metal, or pop. And that kind of has slightly different costs for different actions, which I think is really cool. There's like mixing board is what is like counts the fame. So it's like your score thing, which is cool. There's contest cards that can give you like perks. Like there's this huge map board where you're going to different venues. You've got like a van and, you got to, carry some stuff there and get interest there. You can have like a street team, and there's some rolling to see how things go. There's like a whole row with like merch, and the merch gives you like some contacts and stuff maybe from it. There's like random event cards, which are cool, that can give you some perks. Like there's just a ton of stuff going on in this game. And I'm a big fan of game, as you know, all of us here are big fans of games that have to do with music. And this one's like you end, there's like a weekend sequence, and you have like a finale at the end of the last sequence. And so any leftover contacts you have, your cash can turn into fame. You're using your musicians' personalities. And then you've got like the different dice that you have. They're different, your band's total skill. And so then you assign these dice to like songs, which will give you like multipliers to give you more, like to give you like a song score, which is your album rating, that then you add to your fame. There's some cool stuff in here. So if you like music like we do, if you like a kind of thematic, intense game. Check this one out. It's famous Stage 1. This is on Kickstarter. There's only 2 days left, so sorry. I know, kind of last minute, but there's not a lot to choose from. But the base is $46.
Okay, first off, why have I not heard about this game until right now?
I don't know. I found it like 2 weeks ago.
This player board has like guitar pedals on it that are like tracks and separate areas.
Yeah.
This looks freaking amazing. I mean, Rock Hard's the best band game out right now.
Yes.
Fest season was okay. Not as good as Rock Hard, but I think this one looks really good. I might have to back this one because we have to have games that are about music. We have to.
Well,
this is amazing.
Yeah, I thought you might like it, and that's why it caught me eye. I'm like, oh yeah, another music game? That's pretty interesting. Because I know in our last episode we discussed Rock Hard, so this seemed like a logical follow-up.
Yeah, this is amazing.
All right, and that's all I have for news. Everything else kind of wah. And there's some more stuff kind of coming down the road in a couple weeks.
All right, well, we're going on to games played, but I don't know how we're going to top that last game because that's amazing. All right, so the first game we're going to talk about is a game that actually showed up at our house today because after we played it, I really liked it and wanted to try it again. We borrowed a copy forever and finally played it, and the game is called Weirdwood Manor. And this is a cooperative game where players, it's based on a book. Katie can talk to that. I think she's reading one. Players are basically characters from this book. And you're moving around this weird manor. But the interesting thing is the board shifts. So as you play the game, you're playing cards on top of your board. It's going to determine the actions you can do. You can walk around. You can fight. You can do a room action. But as you play a card, it's going to adjust the time of day in this manor, which is going to open or close certain rooms based on how these two rings move. There's an outer ring and an inner ring. The time of the day shifts the inner ring. When the day shifts from day one to the next day, it shifts the outer ring. So you're trying to get into these rooms, collect resources, which is like fire or power, books, and water. And you're trying to upgrade your player board, move up on these tracks. You're trying to play cards down that are going to assist you in fighting a big bad, because ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to defeat one of the three big bads, whichever one you pick to play, before Lady Weirdwood dies, or I think there's a couple other losing conditions. I can't remember. But you need to defeat a bunch of scarabs, be able to attack him. You got to level up your own board. Can collect companions that are going to help you in your journey. A whole bunch of stuff going on. But ultimately kill the baddie and you win. It was a fun game to play. The rule book was really, really garbagey. So I'm hoping now that I've fought through it once, the next time we play it will make a little bit more sense on some of the things that we had questions with. But I can't wait to try this again. It was fun. It's weird, hence the name. It's pretty hard. We probably would have lost, but I think we were giving ourselves more credit than we should have been.
Probably.
But it was an enjoyable game. It might have been a little long, but again, we were learning it and the rules were bad. So I won't necessarily chalk that up to the game, but I had a good time. So how'd you feel about this one?
Yeah, I liked this one. So there's actually a series of books. They're maybe middle reader by the looks of it. So I got the first one from the library. I haven't really seen the connection yet, but I haven't started reading it. So, but sometimes I have trouble with cooperative games like this because they're just so hard, and then it feels like you're just getting slapped around all the time, and that doesn't make me happy. But there's enough like good things that I think you can do, and your characters have lots of chances for powers to use, and I really like the character I had some kind of spells and things which are kind of cool. And so I think playing it more and understanding the characters will help it go better next time. I had trouble seeing which like rooms were open and which were closed. I don't know why it was so hard for me to figure that out. There were a few things that I thought could be house ruled to streamline it a little bit, because there are some scenarios that I felt like the rule book didn't quite cover. like I would love to see this get a second edition to streamline it some. Maybe start off with a few things. Just I don't know if there are different scenarios going forward. But I definitely want to play it again. I know there are several people. We have several different game groups that would really like to play this.
Yeah, there's 3 different big baddies you can fight. So, yeah, I don't know if that's what you mean by scenarios, but
sure.
But yeah, it was fun. I'd like to see what another play gives us. Different characters, different big bad, and we'll see. Again, learning the game was tricky, but now that that's out of the way, it might be a little bit better.
True.
All right, the next game we're going to talk about is a game that I got for Christmas, and we played it 2 or 3 times. I can't remember. And it is called Mycelia, or Mycelia. I don't actually know how you say it. This is from Splitstone and Burnt Island Games. And in this game, what you're doing is you are basically taking on the role of mushrooms, which is kind of weird, but you have a mother mushroom. And what you're doing is you're moving around this board that's made out of these like triangle tiles. And what you're trying to spread spores into like network connections, which are little cubes. So your mother mushroom can spore in 2 cubes. They will go where your mother mushroom is, and then the wind will blow it. You roll this die, and then it moves your spores around however the wind blows. But as you're doing that, you're going to be having these cards in your hand, and you're trying to get your spores onto certain colored tiles out in the middle of the board. And if you can do that, you can remove the spores, and you can fruit these new mushrooms, which will give you more opportunities to spore, more opportunity to decay and go under your player board, which give you some kind of special ability. Your mother mushroom can eat insects, which you can spin to do a whole bunch of things. Ultimately, you're just trying to spore, get your cubes out on the board, get them on the colors that you need to fruit mushrooms, decay mushrooms, because once 5 mushrooms are decayed, that triggers the end of the game. Whoever has the most points is the winner. It's a pretty easy game to play. You can only do 2 out of 6 actions on your turn. But the hard part of figuring this game out is what's happening in the middle section of the board. There's a lot of cubes, a lot of mushrooms. You can cover up other people's mushrooms, and then you own their cubes. If you put a mushroom where other people have cubes, you own their cubes. It's hard to tell what's going on. It's hard to see the connections. But once you can see all that, like you're in the Matrix, the game is pretty simple. You just look at the colors you need on the card, grab the spores, fruit a mushroom, and then go at it from there. I really like this game. It's fun. It's thinky, but it's also easy to teach because there's only so many things you can do in your turn. So what did you think about Mycelia?
I saw this. It was like a quick demo of this at Origins, and I considered buying it, but I wasn't sure. I don't know. You weren't with me, and so I was like, well, I don't know. And sometimes I've bought games before and been burned, so I was like, no, I won't buy it, because it was by a company that also is like, I don't know, closely related to kids' table board games.
Yeah, they're like a partner, Burnt Island.
Yeah, so that drew me to the booth, and then I thought, man, this game seems really cool. So then I selfishly bought it for Jason for Christmas, and it's really good. It has some really good aspects of like Earth, which I really like. I spent so much time looking at mushrooms and like, are these real? Like, what does this really look like? Where can we find this? What do you do with this mushroom? Which I thought was really intriguing. There is a little bit of luck to it as far as where the spores are going to blow with the wind, but I kind of like that. I like that theme going with it. And I also think that some of the restrictions that they give you make decaying mushrooms to get those powers really like powerful and something you want to do. Otherwise, you don't want to decay mushrooms because they're part of your network, and you'd kind of be giving up a spot and kind of a claim on an area of the board for a color. I really enjoy this. I want to play it like again. I don't know. Did we play it? Maybe you played it without me, with my cousin and her husband.
I don't think I'm pretty sure we all played it. I think we all played it because we played it with them and then Brandon and Matt and Jamie. So we played it 3 times, I think.
I don't think we played it with my cousin.
I did. You might not have, but I did.
That's what I just said.
I know. I really thought you played it too. I don't know.
Anyway, it's really good. I really like it. I see lots more plays of this in the future for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of an abstract game, but it's an abstract game that makes sense and has theme, and those are the best kind. So, yeah, really fun game. All right, so those are the only two games we're going to talk about, so we will keep moving on.
All right, we are entering the top 50. This is the top half of the top 100, the top 50 games that we really love. Some of these will be very familiar. We've got some newcomers into the fold that have creeped up here. I don't think there are any crossovers in this section of 10.
It doesn't look like it.
Interesting. But yeah, Jason's going to start us off with number 50.
All right, so my number 50 is actually a game that I was watching Rado play today while listening to him play while I was at work. I don't know why. I just turned it on. And it's called Colosseum. And this is a game where you're basically running your own Colosseum during whatever period this is. And you're basically trying to get these different bits through an auction. You need warriors, boats, all that to put on different types of shows for these contracts that you have. You want to get the appropriate tokens so you can put on these contracts and score a pile of points. You're also going to be rolling a die because you're going to move the emperor and like the senator around, and if they show up in your Colosseum when you're putting on this play, you get extra points. And you're just trying to outdo yourself with every performance that you do because you're only scored on your highest performance, not a total of all of them, your highest one total. So you're always trying to outdo yourself, one up yourself, because the emperor's fickle. He always wants to see a better show. So, pretty cool scoring system. Really interesting little game. One that we played not that long ago. And I would really like to try it again because it is a good time. So, number 50, Colosseum.
Yeah, I do really like this game. I was trying to think of where it fell in my list. Because I don't know if I've talked about it yet. But there's a lot of good things happening. Last time we played it, I had a good time. I don't know if it's because I was really...
Well, you won real bad.
Yeah, that's what I thought happened. So maybe that's why I liked it. Because there's a lot of like cool things going on in it. And let's see if I can find it. Oh, I talked about it. 67. Okay.
Oh, I don't remember. But it's been more than a day, so I'm not going to remember.
Yeah. My number 50 is from Stonemaier Games. I'm pretty sure that's right.
Yep.
And it is Tapestry. This is the game of tracks, essentially. So Tapestry, there's 4 different tracks that you can move up. You're spending resources to move to different spaces on these tracks to get you different things. There's kind of a tech tree as you're the whole theme is that you're expanding your civilization, advancing them. I love this game because multiple paths to victory, like legit multiple paths to victory. You can go really heavy on like inventions and they give you lots of points. You can explore and go to space. There's just all kinds of different things you can do. We have like the arts and what's that expansion art?
Well, we have all of them, but arts and architecture.
Arts and architecture is the worst. Why?
Agreed.
I tried to go like the arts route and it was a big fat fail. But the other expansion was very good. How many are there? Just 2, 3?
Yeah, fantasy is 1 and blueprints or something. Yeah, I think there's 3 total.
I don't know what belongs to what, but the other ones seem to work better. I know there's like different civilizations on some of them, and
yeah, the last one that came out was just a bunch of new civilizations that were all fantasy themed. So,
yeah, well, but it's I like this game because it's fairly easy to explain. You really can't you have a pretty basic turns, but it's nice to just tell someone new, like, hey, just pick a track and go for it. And just see what happens, because there really are all viable options. Like, I really like that about this. Jason always likes to try to go like the military route and like conquer the map.
I love that trick. I even try to not do it, but I just can't stop doing it.
I like to do like the science exploration track. That's one of my favorites. And then we have so many civilizations to choose from that all have these really interesting different powers that I think is really cool. Yeah, it's just a good game. So my number 50 is Tapestry.
Yeah, I think that's higher on my list. I really like this game. My number 49 is a game that you don't like, but I'm going to chalk it up to who we played it with.
No, that's not the problem.
That's what I'm going to stick with. But it is a retail game, and it's called Kanban. And this is a game about coming up with blueprints, buying parts, ultimately building cars, and testing them out on a test track. And the way you're doing that is you have one worker. You're going to go to one of these 4 different locations. Each of the locations lets you do one of those 4 things. You're going to get blueprints. You're going to get parts. You're going to produce a car, or you're going to test out the car. And based on how many shifts of that you want to take will be 3 or 4 actions. And then there's also this Sandra lady that will be coming around and inspecting you. If you aren't doing the best, you're going to get slapped with a penalty. And at the end of every round, which is whenever the test car passes the finish line, you're going to have a meeting. This is the weirdest part of the game, where you have to get these like business meeting chairs to score points for these cards that you're submitting to the business meeting. It's really convoluted and weird. That's my least favorite part of the game, but you need it because you got to get points. But I really like this game. It is a little weird. It's not the cleanest of Vital's games. It's not my favorite Vital game, but I do enjoy it. So number 49, Kanban.
Here's an idea. You should get points by making cars. I don't know.
That's true. You should get points for making cars, which you don't. Yeah, it is a little weird.
Anyway,
you get some, but not enough.
I can't get on that soapbox, or we'll never move on. My number 49 is a game that I like better than Jason, and I find that shocking.
No, did I talk about this already?
You did. Last episode.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know. The game is Rock Hard 1977. We also alluded to it in news. So maybe if we back the famous game, it might upstage Rock Hard next year. Jason talked about this last week. This is a game where you are trying to make it big, man, as a musician. So you've got a day job. You've got worker placement. So you're placing at like the 3 different times of day, during the daytime, the evening, and then after hours. You're trying to get yourself a record deal, play at venues, so that you can get famous and make some money. Is money the points? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like 5 money for a point or something like that. It's not a lot of points, but it has some.
No, what is like, are there separate points? What's the points called in this one?
I think just, I don't remember actually. Star points, something like that. Fame points. Okay,
it's also fame. I wasn't sure. Yeah, the theme is really strong in this one. That's what makes it so fun. Also, what makes it so fun is this was designed by a member of the Runaways, and I do love them as early pioneers for women in rock and roll. And she like totally liked one of our posts, and that's really cool. So major fangirl moment there. But yeah, the game is really solid, very good. We will continue to talk about how awesome it is the more we play it. So my number 49, Rock Hard 1977.
Yeah, every time I play it, I like it more and more. That game is really good. My number 48 is a game that we haven't played for a minute, but it hasn't been that long, and it's called Merchants of the Dark Road. And this is a dice place selection game, I guess, where you're using dice to move around this little rondel. There's like 5 or 6 spaces. You're moving this little carriage around, and you're visiting different sections of this town that are going to let you do different things. You may recruit some people to get on your wagon so you can take them to this other section of the board. You may get some things to put inside your wagon. And then ultimately you're trying to get these different goods and people to deliver them to this this whole section of the board, and that's where you're going to score most of your points and some money. The interesting thing about this game is you're going to be scored on the lowest of your scores in money or points. So you're not trying to focus too heavy on one, because then you're going to have a really crappy score. So you're trying to balance all that out through everything you're doing in the game so you can end the game with the most points. There's way more to it than that, but that's an overview and a quick idea. But a really fun game. One that I would like to play again. Looks fantastic, great components, and I enjoy it. So number 48, Merchants of the Dark Road.
I believe I like this one significantly better. I'm pretty positive on that. So we will revisit. My number 48 is a little card game. Oh my gosh, just blanked on the company that makes it because I really love them. And they make really...
Keymaster.
Dang it, Keymaster. I was like, oh, they make all these good games and trails. And yes, Keymaster. And it is Campy Creatures. This is a game where everyone has a set of cards of like classic, like movie monsters. And each of the monsters has a power and a number. And so I like it because it's simultaneous action selection, which for new people and for teaching people that aren't gamers, I think that that's really great. It keeps things moving. It helps them kind of understand the game. So you are picking a creature to play, and everyone then reveals, and the creature's powers activate as you are trying to capture these humans, different kinds of humans, to score points. It's fun. The theme is cool. The artwork is great. Again, I think it's really easy to get non-gamers into. I really love games like this, like Libertalia, like that simultaneous action selection that gets everybody involved. There's not really a bunch of downtime. You're like, trying to outthink somebody, but all you're doing is picking a card. But there's really like key choices. So it's a great game. Number 48, Campy Creatures.
Yeah, I do really enjoy this one. And it has great production and great art. Mm-hmm. My number 47 is another music game. Told you we like music games. Katie doesn't necessarily like this one as much or at all. I'm not sure. I do like it, and it's called Come Together. And this is a game about putting on effectively Woodstock. You are trying to... It's a worker placement game, kinda. You have these different little hippie characters, and you're going to send them out to these 4 different locations on the board. And based on the number of characters that you send to these locations, is going to determine some actions that you can do. The tricky thing is you can't take an action until either the area gets full or somebody takes a certain action and it lets all the areas fire off. So you're kind of pre-programming the spaces that you want to do. And then you're going to be getting acts that are going to be playing on stages. You're going to be getting stages for those acts to play on. You're going to be getting concession areas that you want to link up to score points. And you're going to be getting, most importantly, concert goers of 5 different colors, which represent the genres of music, to come into your park, stay in campgrounds, and come watch the bands that they like. I really like it. Yeah, it's a little clunky. It has some funky rules, but I do enjoy it. I'll probably just have to end up playing it by myself moving forward. So there is that. So Mario 47, Come Together.
I don't hate it. I feel like there's potential there that doesn't always work out. I don't know. I don't dislike it. My number 47 is a game that we don't play very often. If we do, it's just Jason and I, because it's heavy and frankly frightens, I think, a lot of people. And that is Trickerion. This game has that really cool theme of magicians in like the kind of Gilded Age. You are setting up tricks, and you're doing that by getting the materials you need, learning the tricks, spending some time kind of at your workshop, sending out your assistants to get the stuff you need, getting yourself on like the playbill schedule to perform these tricks. It is tight. It is a lot of things to balance and manage. But when you can do that and pull it off, it's like really satisfying. The last time we played this, I had a really great time, but I think it's because I beat you so badly.
Yeah, I like this game, but I'm not good.
And I just don't understand that. But it is a beast to teach. Jason does not like to teach it because there are a lot of moving parts and a lot of things to remember, which is probably why he and I just played ourselves. But I feel kind of bad because he is not good at the game and I always win. But it is really fun. It is more of a complex kind of game, but totally worth it. So that's my number 47, Trickerion.
Yeah, I do like this game. I think it's higher on my list. I haven't looked, but I would assume it's higher.
I don't remember if you talked about it already. So
I don't think I did. My number 46 is actually a game that's been on my list for a long time. And there are games it's not even like the best game, but for some reason I just really enjoy it. And that is Istanbul. And this is a game where you're basically just moving around the board with this stack of little discs. And as you move, you're leaving a disc behind. So eventually you're not going to be able to move anymore because you have no disc to drop off. And then wherever you land, you're going to take that action. And the actions are collecting different types of goods in your wheelbarrow, going to location and selling goods for gems, going to the jail to get your stupid cousin out so he can go activate a location, visiting these little cylinders that are on the board to help you get more goods. But ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to be the first player to get 5 or 6 different gems, and you're going to get those by selling goods at different locations, completing certain objectives, and you're just racing, doing the way that you want to do it, but you got to get to the number of gems first. I just like this game. I don't know why. It's fun. It's pretty easy to teach, and I just like moving the stupid little thing around. So there you go. My 46, Istanbul.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I feel like it's always just too short, and I don't love a race to the end kind of game, you know. My number 46 is a card game, and y'all know I love me some trick takers and card games because hello from the Midwest. So this game is Indulgence. I don't know how we found this or where we found it. Was this one of those like table deals?
I thought I got it. I made a trade for something and somebody threw this in. It was something weird like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it came into our possession by total happenstance, and I'm so glad it did. Obviously, it's very high. So Indulgence is a trick-taking game. But what's interesting is each round there is a different rule that's being followed, and you take turns deciding. There are turns taken. What? You're not really the Pope. I don't.
Yeah, it's like a papal decree.
Yeah. So it is.
Yeah.
Popish. So maybe it and there's different. The suits are like different families from They're like Italian nobles, I guess, is probably.
Yeah. Italian nobility.
Yeah. And so maybe it's that you don't want any tricks that have one suit. Or you want as many of a certain number within the suits. Just different things that kind of change up the general rules of Trump and what kind of tricks you want to take and those kinds of things. This also has an element where you can kind of like shoot the moon and decide that you're going to do the opposite of whatever the decree is, which is like Jason's favorite thing to do all the time.
Yeah, I love it. You're going to be the sinner. It's called the sinner.
Yeah. And then everybody else is working against you. So it's just easy trick taking, which we know a lot of people that we play with are like, oh yeah, I understand that because we play a lot of euchre around here, or hearts or spades. But then it just kind of adds a twist that makes it a little bit more exciting. You have to pay attention a little bit more. There are gems, like jewels, that come with this that are the currency that gets exchanged back and forth, which is always nice to touch and handle and play with. But it's just, I think it's just a great addition to what trick taking, which I really enjoy anyway, to what trick taking can be, in a small little box. So yeah, I really like it. 46, Indulgence.
Yeah, this is a fun one. There are a lot of trick taking games that came out after this that kind of do the same thing, which makes me want to play those more because they're a little bit deeper. But yeah, this game's really good.
I guess like Royal Princess, I probably prefer over this.
Yeah, similar vibe. Similar vibe. My number 45 is a 2-player only game that now has been rethemed as Lord of the Rings.
Really?
And yeah, and the Lord of the Rings one looks really cool. And it's called Seven Wonders Duel. And this is basically a 2-player only version of Seven Wonders. Drafting. There's a grid in the middle of the table. They're going to have some cards face up, some cards face down. On your turn, you're going to take a card. In order to get to the face down cards, you got to get all the face up cards off of them so they flip over. And then you're trying to basically collect different resources. You're trying to get different symbols on the science. You're trying to get production buildings. You're trying to do military if you want to, because ultimately you're going to end the game if you have the most points. Or if you can get the military track all the way over to the opponent's side, You're going to win immediately as well. Or science, yeah, if you get a certain number of science symbols, you win instantly. So there's like 3 or 4 different ways you can win, and you're trying to just take the path you like and just outthink your opponent and be the winner. Really cool game, way better than Seven Wonders. I'm not a huge fan of regular Seven Wonders, but this version is fantastic. So my number 45, Seven Wonders Duel.
I almost hate comparing it to Seven Wonders because I can't stand that game. I haven't played like the newer version, but I mean, I'm willing to give it a try. But regular Seven Wonders, woof. I just don't understand why people like that game. But Duel's awesome. My number 45 is a game that we're like, we're never going to get this game. It's so hard to find, but we did. And then Jason lost his mind and like backed a new Kickstarter and all kinds of insanity. And that is Lords of Vegas. This game is really fun. A lot of people gravitate towards the theme. You are building casinos in Las Vegas. You are taking over casinos. You are changing up the themes. It's a lot of luck. It's gambling. It's rolling dice. But the theme is so fun. And luck can be against you. But honestly, I think that's okay. Because I think it just fits very thematically. There are a lot of expansions for this. We have many. I think the Up expansion is a really great thing to play. Especially because I played it at like pretty full player counts. And that's like a must. But we got some new boards for it. It's just a good game. So, 45, Lords of Vegas.
Yeah, I do like that game. It's fun. All right. My number 44. Yeah, 44. I got confused by looking at the list. Is a game that I think I got for my birthday or something. And we've only played it 1 time or 2 times, and I really want to play it again. And it's called Venice. And this is a game where it's a pick up and deliver game of sorts. You have a couple gondolas, and you're moving them around on the board to visit different locations to get different color cubes. And then you're trying to take those colors of cubes to other locations, sell them for money. But the interesting thing about this is if you cross paths with another gondola, you get some suspicion. I don't know why, but that's just the way that it goes. And if you end the game with the most suspicion, you automatically lose. So no matter what you've done in the game, how many points you've gotten, you are the loser. So you're trying to manage your suspicion. There's ways you can decrease it and all that kind of stuff. If you play a 2-player game, there's also these extra gondolas that are moving around. Each player has like a little dummy player that they're controlling. That makes it a little crazier too. Just a really fun game. There's an expansion that makes the board bigger because the board's a little too small. I'd like to get that expansion to make it not as crazy. But really fun. Definitely want to try it again. We also have Florence that we still need to play from the same company, Braincrack, that looks fantastic as well. We're talking about Venice now, and Venice is my number 44.
Yeah, I really like the gondolas on this one, and we do need to play it again. I would like to play it with more than 2 people.
Yeah, agreed.
We should remember this and bust it out.
Yeah, I'll do that.
My number 44 is a game that Jason was so against, like many other games. And then I played it without him because he's like, that's not my kind of game. And I thought, dude, you would really like this game. And that's Creating a Monster. And that game is Return to Dark Tower. This is a cooperative game where you are fighting against a tower. and all the things it sends towards you. It's controlled by an app. The tower spits out skulls. It sends things against you. It gets angry. So you are trying to this is another one where a lot of bad things can happen, but I feel like there are a lot of good things that also can happen, sort of, at least at the beginning. You feel like you're doing okay, and then all of a sudden it's like, dang, we're dead. And I have been the source of us dying on many occasions in this game because for some reason I always end up with a bunch of corruption. I don't know how. I try to mitigate it and I die. But it is fun, I think, to everyone get together, try to fight against the tower. It's nice because we have expansions for it. So everyone has different characters and you can use then like your characters like abilities to really help the group. So it feels like, yeah, you can say, hey guys, what do you think we should do? But it's also like, hey, my character has these things, or I can do this, or have these advantages. And that really allows you then to have your own turn and feel like you are contributing to the group without having someone who's saying, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. I've played it with some friends who aren't like huge gamers, but my one friend, his wife told me like, oh man, my husband was like, hey, are they going to bring that tower game again? Like he really loved it. And even though like we lost brutally more than once, like he was so into it. And I think that that's what's so great about games that in some ways are just a big gimmick. But also it allows you to really be a part of the story and neat things are happening and you feel really invested. So my number 44, Return to Dark Tower.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is higher on my list. If it's not, it should be.
If it's not, I'll be shocked.
Because I do love this game. Yeah, me too. I'll be shocked too. I believe it's higher, so we'll go with it.
I love how your list is a surprise. Sorry, I love how your list is a surprise, even to yourself.
Well, because I looked at it.
Even you don't know how you feel rank games.
Because I looked at it, then I didn't look at it anymore. I look at it when I'm making the list. I'm like, oh yeah, these are good games, and then I don't look at it anymore. So yeah, there we go. All right, so my number 43 is the Stonemaier game. So we've got a couple Stonemaier games on this list. There may be more. And this game is about making wine, and it's called Viticulture. And this is a worker placement game where you're going to be placing workers over 3 or 4 seasons, depending on which version of the game you play. There's base, and then there's Tuscany that adds another season. And each season is going to allow you to do certain things. Some seasons you can plant vineyards. Some seasons you can have customers come in and taste your wine. Some season you can harvest your plants. So you're trying to basically plant, harvest, make wine, and then sell the wine to these customers to score a pile of points. This is another race game where players are racing to get to 20 points. First player to 20 points is the winner. It's hard to get points. There's a lot of steps that you can even take before you start getting a point. But once the points start flowing, the game starts speeding up, and that's when it gets good. So Viticulture, number 43, with or without the expansion. I don't really care. I just like this game.
I love how you talk about games in the same way every time, even when it's not true. Like you said, oh, you're going to do all these things to score a pile of points. And then you're like, but you don't really get very many points, and you're trying to race to 20 points.
Well, you feel like you're scoring a pile of points, but you're really not.
Okay. Make a pile of wine. You do make...
Yeah. You do make a pile of wine, and then you sell it for not very many points.
Right.
Unlike real life, where you make a pile of wine and you sell it for a whole pile of money.
Exactly. If it's good wine. My number 43 is, I also think, a Stonemaier game, right?
Yes.
And I really like half this game a lot, and I like the other half, but not as much as one half. Anyway, the game's Red Rising. So this game is based on a book series, which I still have not read, and I know some others have read it, actually. And I keep meaning to add it. It's on my long TBR list, which is ever increasing. But in this game, you are managing a hand of cards, which have different people on them from different factions. And those cards, which this is my favorite part, will score in different ways. Sometimes they require other cards to be in your hand. Sometimes they require like just types of cards to be in your hand, or none of a certain type of card to be in your hand. And just that hand manipulation, making the best out of the hand that you've got. I stinking love that, which is what Marvel Remix does, and I love the game because of that. But this adds a few other elements to it, because there are other ways also that you're going about and making things happen and able to score points, collecting these red cubes that are, what, helium or something?
Yeah, helium.
Okay, I can't believe I remember that. Also, like, moving up on this track with these little planes. Like, we have the deluxe fight edition, and the components are awesome. Colors difficult to see, I will admit that, but they look really cool and they feel really nice. But I just like this really tight interplay. And I like it because a lot of Stone Meyer games, it's a race to a certain like end point, like get the certain number of points or stars or whatever. And you are kind of racing towards the end of this here, like to get there's like 3 conditions or something that have to be met. Like you have to have so many helium, or your planes have to be so far up at this track, or there's like a
certain number of cubes in a location.
Yeah. But that's not the end. Like, racing to that doesn't mean you win. You then are scoring your hand of cards and how well you made use of that. And to me, that is how a game should be. And like the foil on the cards, like the colors of it, I just really, really like this game. So my number 43 is Red Rising.
Yeah, this is a fun game. I like this one. My number 42 is a game that I don't think you've played yet.
Nope.
I've played it in real life a couple times, and on Board Game Arena 4, 5, 6 times. And it's called Russian Railroads. And this is a game, it's a worker placement game, where you're basically building 4 different kinds of train tracks, or 3, I can't remember how many. There's 3 different tracks, 4 different colors, I believe, of track. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to advance each of these different colors along each of these tracks to get points. The tricky part is there's black, brown, white, and gray track, I believe. And you have to move the track that's below the color behind it far enough ahead to start getting the other track out. So in order to get the gray track out, I need to get the black track advanced far enough along the line to have access to the gray track. And when certain colors of track hits different locations on these different lines, you're going to be able to fire off certain types of things. So you're trying to manage how you're moving on these different lines. Do you want to pay attention to all the lines? Do you just want to focus on a couple lines? Do you want to focus on getting engineers to come help you do these actions? There's another track where you're moving around the bottom of your player board, getting these different like little plugins, and the farther you move this little track, the more points you're going to get. This one does throw a pile of points at you. You can get 200-300 points in this game, and it feels good. That was a terrible overview, but worker placement, move your trains, that's what you're doing. And I really like it. So that's my number 42, Russian Railroads.
Do we own this?
Yeah, I traded for it.
Oh, yeah, I've still never played it. Have you played with like people that we play with, or just your secret friends?
Yeah, I played with Brandon a couple times.
Never me. Get some Puffin Billy friends or something.
I don't think they would play this. It's not trainy enough for them.
My number 42 is a game Jason doesn't like. Because
That is correct. I'm not even going to argue with you. Yeah, I really don't like this game.
Yeah. But this... I really hate having this game, honestly, this low, because I love playing it so much. However, you can't play it with very many people, or else it ruins it.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
But I also never play it by myself, which you totally could, but that's not as fun. Anyway, it is Consulting Detective. I've kind of lumped them all together. I have all of the Consulting Detectives. My personal favorite is the Jack the Ripper. series. It's really good. So in Consulting Detective, you are working for Sherlock Holmes. You are trying to solve cases. So you read like an initial kind of statement about the case, and then it is your job to go hunt down clues and answer these questions that are at the back, that kind of sum up the case and solve the mystery. Sometimes it's murder, sometimes it's kidnapping, sometimes it's theft. I love Sherlock Holmes. I love mysteries. It's something that I read, I watch, I think about, real and imagined all the time. And this game allows me to work and think like one of my favorite detectives. So that's why I love it so much. I played it with up to like 4 or 5 people one time, and it was a nightmare. Generally it's me and one of my best friends, and she and I, we have our jobs, we know how to do it, we've worked on some of these cases, we think through it, we talk through it, we've got it down. She is the Watson to my Holmes. It is a well-oiled machine, and that's really how I like to play it. I think it would have been higher if I could play it with more people and all different kinds of people, but there is just a very specific audience that will play this. It does take a lot of time. But for me, it's a very good time, and it's time well spent, and it's stuff I enjoy. So my number 42 is Consulting Detective.
I have played this before. So before people say I haven't played it, I have played it.
You did.
It's a lot of reading, and my brain doesn't work like this. It's just not for me.
You have played it?
Yeah, we played one of the Jack the Ripper ones one time.
I must have.
That's how I know I don't like it.
Did I black that out?
I don't know. We did the whole the whole thing. We got to the ending and realized that Sherlock did it way faster than us.
Oh, he always does it way faster. I've let go of that completely.
Yeah. No, we did one. Yeah, we did one.
I don't remember. Well, thanks for doing that.
Yeah. You're welcome. Clearly you care. All right. So my number 41 is actually a Stefan Feld game. And it's one that I've only played in real life, I think once or twice, but I've played it online a whole bunch. And this is called The Castles of Burgundy. And this is a tile drafting game. You have 2 dice. You're going to roll these dice. Each of the dice are going to represent one of the depots where you can get tiles from, 1 through 6. There's usually 2 tiles each of the depots, depending on player count. Or the dice are going to let you put tiles that you have in your little holding area on your board onto the player board based on the value. Or you're going to be able to sell goods that you've collected on your player board based on the value. Certain values will sell certain types of goods. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the best tiles that you can onto your player board to fill in certain colors of areas, get extra tiles that give you extra ways to score bonus points, be the first to close in these areas because you get some bonus points, and just be as efficient as you can getting the tiles and doing it better than your opponents. This is another game that gives you a pile of points. I do love that term, pile of points.
I know.
Stefan Feld, point salad. This is what this game does. Good game. I don't really like playing it in real life because it takes too long to set up and tear down, but it is a good game. Either way, I would play it in real life, just that probably no more than 3. And online, I'll play it at whatever because I don't have to clean it up. So my number 41, Castles of Burgundy.
I played this game once, and I really hated it. And everyone is like, this game is so good. Everybody loves this game. And I'm honestly not sure why. I do think I maybe need to give it a second chance, but I really didn't like it the first time.
I was in the same boat, and I gave it a second chance, and I liked it. I liked it better.
I'll consider it. So my last game of this week's set is a game that I've played just a few times, but it's one of those games that I kept thinking about it after I played it, thinking about how I could have done better and how do I play it. And I honestly still don't know if I know how to play this game well. I mean, I know the mechanics of it, but I feel like I can do better. And that game is Hallertau. So this game is it looks a lot like Agricola. It looks like a Caverna. I'm assuming my boy did the artwork.
Yeah. Clemens Franz.
Yes, I just don't know where to find that.
I don't know that he did, but I'm pretty sure he did.
I would be shocked if it wasn't Clemens Franz.
Yeah, you keep talking. I'll look.
Hang on. I think I can find it. I just no. Why? It should be right here on this like very first page. I don't know. Anyway, so Hallertau, you have like a little village, and you're working with like, you've got sheep, and so you're doing some worker placement. You're rotating some fields. You want like fallow fields to like become active again. Your sheep can die of natural causes. You can have like cheese. You can make crafts. And so like the board, it's interesting because the board kind of progresses forward, but you have to like move rocks and meet all these different goals in order to keep moving forward and keep progressing. And it is really hard. It is a lot of things to manage. Like really the actions that you can take aren't difficult, but it's just very kind of difficult choices because you always want to do more than you're able to. This has a lot of cute little meeples like Agricola does, like little wheat and sheeps and meat and milk and cheese. Like it's got to be Clemens Franz. There's no way this is.
It is. It's Clemens Franz and some guy named Lucas.
Oh, well, this is an Uwe Rosenberg game. So again, you're feeding, like it has echoes of Agricola, of Caverna, of, what's the other game?
Le
Havre. Yes. Like it calls those things, but I just kind of like the way that Hallertau does it with when you're trying to like advance. There's like a cute little, like your little cottage. It's adorable that you're working to move. Like you just always want to do more. And there's always like, oh, dang it, but I got to do this first. Like, oh, dang it, I didn't get this. And it's this progressive kind of worker placement. You've got these card combos that you can work with, making sure your sheep don't die off and you don't have any little meeples. It's so many great things I like. I would like to play this one again, but it is a little bit heavier, so you can't just like waltz it out for just anybody. So I haven't played it for a while, but I obviously made an impression because that's pretty dang high, actually. I think I was really pining over it when I made my list. So my number 41 is Hallertau.
Yeah, I'd like to play this again too. I don't remember it that well. I remember moving the house and you get like a pile of cards that you get to play. Yeah,
I obviously don't remember it well either from that terrible explanation I just gave.
That's still better than every explanation I did today.
I did not say pile of points because I honestly don't know if it gives you a pile of points.
Yeah, I don't remember that either. I don't know.
I don't even know how you get points. I don't know. Okay, well, do you want to count back our list here?
Yes. All right, so my number 50 is Colosseum. 49 is Kanban. 48 is Merchants of the Dark Road. 47 is Come Together. 46 Istanbul. 45 Seven Wonders Duel. 44 Venice. 43 Viticulture. 42 Russian Railroads. And 41 The Castles of Burgundy.
You'd think after doing so many of these, you would know how this goes.
You would think.
My number 50 is Tapestry. 49 is Rock Hard 1977. 48 is Campy Creatures. 47 is Trickerion, Legends of Illusion. 46 is Indulgence. 45 Lords of Vegas. 44 Return to Dark Tower. 43 Red Rising. 42 Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. And 41 Hallertau. So we are moving on to our top 50. If you have done a top 50, we would love to hear what those games are. If you haven't done a top 50 and you want to criticize our top 50, go for it. We would be happy to hear your complaints.
Yeah, I'll put them in my special file.
Yeah. I really love to hear people talking about games or saying, oh, hey, I've never played that one before. Oh, if you like blah, 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 you should try blah, blah, blah. fill in the blah, blah, blah. Because that's, I think, what we really care about. We love playing games. We love discovering new games. Again, some of these games just popped up at our house sometimes and surprise us with how good they are and how much we like playing them. So I love to hear what you guys are playing, what you think about the games that we like and games that you like, or reasons why you do or don't like certain games.
Yeah, I got nothing to say. We got to put a kid to bed.
All right. Well, in that case, I've been Katie.
I'm Jason.
Keep gaming, everybody.
Keep gaming.